Welcome to another edition of Let's Watch a B-Movie. This is actually our 19th episode, Nick. Can you believe that? 19 episodes in the can.
Yeah, and I just had a premonition that our 20th episodes we're both going to die.
Why do you have to have a premonition that's so negative? Are you speaking towards death or cancellation? Because
death.
I thought you meant the end of our podcast. You mean the end of our lives.
Yes.
What the hell?
And if it makes you feel better, there is a way to cheat it. We just have to watch the right movie first.
Okay. Maybe we've done that with Final Destination because we're actually paying homage to the creator, designer of this whole damn thing.
Exactly. So let's hurry up, review this movie so we can figure out how we can not die.
We need like a damn guest host to intervene and someone's got to jump in and save us. And then it resets and then we die next week.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't guessed it, we're doing Final Destination.
A movie directed by James Wong, nonetheless. I did not know this until we watched it this time.
I was hella surprised to see his name on the opening credit.
I was not expecting the name. Granted, I already know Devon Sawa was in it. I already know of Ollie Larder and Tony Todd. I did not know James Wong directed it.
Now, my question is, I'm wondering, did he do all the Final Destinations or just this one? I feel like he didn't do the entire series.
No, there's no way. Most directors tend to change.
And so he would go on to do all the Conjuring movies.
Third Conjuring movie is being directed by the guy who gave us La Llorona.
So I should have low expectations.
Exactly.
So this must have been early James Wong before his career really took off.
It was even before Insidious, because Insidious came out, 2010?
The first Insidious was a while back.
Yeah.
It might have been. This is the year 2000.
I know I graduated high school, so it had to be after 2010, or within 2010.
Why am I thinking he did Saw? He didn't do Saw, right?
Yeah, I think he did the first one.
He did the first Saw movie.
Yeah, first one or first two. I know he did one of the Saw movies. I just can't think of the one.
I think he did the first one. I think you're right. So
this is probably why the first one's actually really good.
So this is probably, let's say, his first big movie, I'm thinking.
I wouldn't say big movie.
No, this was a big movie when it came out. See, I remember the time period when this came out.
Supernatural slashers do tend to raise an eyebrow for people.
Yeah, but this was like everybody, at least in high school, everybody was going to see it in theaters that weekend.
To be honest with you, I didn't even watch this until part 3 came out, and then I just watched all 3 of them at once. That's my first memory of this movie.
You could see by the nature of the death scenes, how the movie plays out, that it would be fun to watch in theaters.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine the audience reaction after some of these death scenes? This is a movie that would be really tailor-made to see in theaters.
Something tells me some of those audiences probably laughed a little bit, too, because some of these death scenes were also a little out there.
Comical, I would say. Well,
right.
This whole plot is out there because we're used to slashers like Freddy, Jason, Leprechaun.
They're all still supernatural, but none of them is legitimately death.
Death. Let's talk about that before we get in the movie. Death as a killer. Imagine who has the balls to write that script where literally the killer is death. That's some pretty big, bold, I'm thinking drug-induced, hallucinogen-based.
Don't make me pull out my phone and look up who wrote it.
No normal sober person is sitting there like, who's the killer for this? Death! I got it! Death! I mean, come on. This is definitely written by somebody who was high off their minds, basically, when they wrote this script. So, anyways, came out in 2000. So, money-wise, it made about $50 million domestic. So that was a reasonable hit for a horror movie, I would say, at that time.
Which is probably why they made a sequel.
Pretty quickly, too. Let me give props to Devon Sawa, too, because that dude was in some good movies back in the day.
Yeah, even though to me, he really is not that great of an actor. I mean, he probably is now. I mean, granted, he was young when he did all these good movies. He was in that one. He was in Idle Hands.
I'm not saying that he should have been up for Shawshank Redemption. What I'm saying is that as far as being a likable protagonist, he gets the job done. He always plays likable characters that you can get behind, support. And by the way, his character here is totally different from Idle Hands. 2 years in a row, he made Idle Hands in this movie, because Idle Hands was 99, this is 2000. And then, oddly, I don't know if I would say that he disappeared, but he did kind of fall off the map a little bit.
Yeah.
For 20 years.
Yeah. And then now he's going to be in the new Chucky series.
Amazing. But last year he popped up for me in this low-budget John Travolta movie called The Fanatic. And he was in this, Idle Hands, and this tornado movie called Night of the Twisters. Used to come on TV a lot. Was a big fan of him. This is probably Ollie Larder's first big thing.
Probably. I mean, it's the first thing I saw her in. I mean, I've probably seen her in more things, but again, I watched this when the third movie had already come out.
Yeah,
so
Ollie Larder, she showed up in the TV show Heroes.
Yep.
She was really strong in that.
I think she was, that. She also, not so happy about this. Nothing against Ollie Larder, because she did what she could, but she played one of my favorite protagonists in video games in a movie adaptation of Resident Evil.
Oof.
She played Claire Redfield.
We know how you feel about the Resident Evil movies.
Yes.
I've heard this rant before.
She did what she could with that movie, but in this one, you could definitely tell she still needs some years of improvement.
You know what the original name of this movie was?
What's that?
Flight 180. But you know why they changed that? Because they didn't want people to get confused with like Air Force One and other movies that come out that had
Well,
airplane
also,
titles.
it would not have made too much sense had they decided to go with the sequel that they did.
Yeah, as a standalone, Flight 180 would have made sense, but
As a whole series, yeah, you could say that it's because of the flight why everything else is happening, but it really still would not have made sense to name every single movie that they kept it the way they did.
well, yeah, Flight 180 Part 2 doesn't sound appealing.
Especially since that massacre took place on a highway.
Yeah, so whoever changed the name gets kudos because they were clearly thinking ahead, because you're right, Flight 180 would have been great as a standalone, but wouldn't have worked out well for a series.
Or what the highway that happened on would have been Highway 180.
Well, the whole gimmick was, you got to think, though, then Part 3 is an amusement park.
All of that after like one with the number 180, but still Final Destination sounds like a better thing.
Yeah.
Especially since, they're literally going to end up in their final destination in their coffin.
Unless, well, I don't want to get into the rules yet because there's so many damn rules with how they avoid that. So now,
I mean, we've probably already given away so much without even getting into the movie yet.
you think so? I assume that people have seen the movie, but just in case you haven't, I don't think we've been too spoiler heavy yet. So anyways,
Well, we spoiled that they're sequels.
I mean, come on, that's... we got to draw the lines where what's a spoiler, what's not a spoiler. People know there's a series. I mean, that's not spoiling anything, so...
Oh, yeah, so let's go ahead and just get into this movie and find out where our final destination lands.
You keep saying that. I don't want you to jinx us by continually talking about our final destination, all right? We don't know when that's going to be.
Make a gimmick because of the movie.
I know, but you're scaring me because I'm thinking about,
That's the point!
Everything we do could be playing in a Death's Plan.
I mean,
That's not
Shadow by the Wall, not death?
Yeah, I mean, the next Mountain Dew you drink, who knows what kind of acid reaction that can cause in your intestines where they explode and you do the do like a damn commercial. Or who knows if my mic will just explode in my face for no reason at all. So.
Well, you did smack it.
So, Final Destination, the opening credits, I'll say this, the opening credits throw out a lot of stuff. There's a lot of little clues and hints there that are popping up in the opening credits.
Hanging man silhouette.
You got that?
The fan that could potentially be like the propeller that explodes.
They do a close-up on his passport.
Yeah.
Showing that our protagonist named Alex, played by Devin Sawa, is going to be taking a little trip to France.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, sidebar. Did your high school ever have some damn senior trip that went to a different country?
Not a different country. I did have a drama trip that took me to New York City.
Nice. We didn't go anywhere. I think they offered us tickets to King's Dominion.
Were you in drama class?
No, but there should have been a senior trip, though.
That wasn't a senior trip. That was just our drama class tends to go to New York sometimes to go watch plays. Do you want to come? Yes.
You were a drama nerd on top of TV production?
Yes.
Jesus. Did you work on the yearbook?
No. It's kind of hard to work on a yearbook when you only get to the school for the last year.
They're going to Paris on a senior trip?
Yeah, that does seem... Well, is it really a senior trip or is it a French class trip? Because notice how it just seems like all these people would be...
No, you're right. You're right, because they say later in the movie that it's a class of 41 students.
Exactly.
And that wouldn't be the senior class.
No, senior class would probably be closer to 100 or that full plane.
Okay, that's even more mind-blowing. A little French class is going on a trip to France?
I wonder how much money they had to put up just to get those students to go.
I wonder if you're failing the class, do you still get to go?
Probably not.
What about skipping class but just showed up for the trip? It's like, yeah, I want to go to France, but I don't know.
Something tells me Devin Sawa was one of those characters.
Yeah, what? How is him and his friend here on this damn trip to France?
And also, why is his brother going? I'm pretty sure his brother would be in a different class.
I didn't pick on that.
His brother is older than them.
He's definitely older.
But then again, I guess with electives like a foreign language, probably.
Well, hold on, wait. I got a very simple solution. Simple solution. His brother's an idiot and has repeated the 12th grade 7 times. That makes sense. Then he'd still be in the same grade.
I guess that explains why he's one of the people who just stays on the plane and dies.
Well, here's an idea. He likes getting these trips to France, so he just stays. He fills the class every year so he can keep taking this trip.
So he's Ice Tray from damn Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah.
Who repeats the 10th grade like 6 times?
That is such a mind-blowingly specific reference. Ice Tray from Fresh Prince?
You know my motto. If I like something, I stick with it.
Are they paying for this? Who's paying for this trip? I was
They
thinking about that
probably
too.
are, because I had to pay for my trip to New York.
Ah, so their parents are paying for it, probably.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
me, I still ended up having to pay for it. My dad's just like, do extra chores around the house and you get the money.
So basically, these extremely overly privileged sons of bitches I'm not bitter. I'm not jealous. I'm just saying. I mean, a trip to France.
You're not jealous, huh?
No, I mean, hey, we got to.
You sound pretty jealous to me, sir.
We got to go to Burger King in my senior class. That was just me skipping class and going to Burger King on my own.
I was about to say that something.
No,
something doesn't sound right there.
No, we went to the what's the astronomy place? The planetarium. Went there. We went to the museum, the Smithsonian.
Okay, see, I wouldn't mind. I would not have minded going there.
But that's 45 minutes away. That wasn't a big trip for us. We boarded on a bus and just went there. The aquarium, 2 hours away.
I like aquariums.
France would have been nice. I like fishes. I like fish too. But Paris, France, something.
No, because then you have to get on a plane like Flight 180.
Well, I would make sure it wouldn't be Flight 180 though. I would never even now board a flight of 180. Would you order?
How much you want to bet airlines are now purposely holding the number 180 completely off?
And this had to ruin all future prospects of the number 180.
Probably.
All flights of 180 were just like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
So anyways, we have, basically he's getting ready for this trip he's taking the next day. He's in his bedroom, he's packing. One thing that's said about this opening scene, though, I don't know if you picked up on this. Well, first of all, his mom rips the tag off the suitcase, which is bad luck.
Yeah, allegedly.
Knowing what we know is going to happen, this is a really terrible move by the way.
Right.
She didn't know she was jinxing the hell out of him, but okay.
Well, for all we know, that's probably not even a jinx move. I mean, I've never heard that before. Don't rip off your old tags from flights. I've never heard that before.
I thought it was don't rip off the tag off the mattress, but I guess in this movie they're saying that the bad luck is ripping it off the suitcase.
I guess.
So his dad says to him, famous last words, his dad says, you have your whole life ahead of you.
I did catch that, and for some reason David Sawa got such a serious look on his face. I'm like...
This is what I wanted to bring up. So he got a look of like where he's already seen something or sensed something. And I don't know if that look makes sense at this point in the movie.
It doesn't, because we don't know if he's had any kind of... We don't know if he's having any kind of feelings. He never mentions it throughout the movie, that he had something before this premonition even happens. Yes, you kind of get that he has an issue with flying altogether.
I get that, but this look is like more like him later in the movie would give these kind of looks.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know if this is like a directing thing or what, but someone should like coach them on just, I don't know if that we knew that it's too early for that look.
Right. It should have just been like, he looks up, acknowledges his dad with kind of a smile and says, I know. Something just kind of a passive thing.
Well, because we don't need his reaction, the line is still an ironic line.
Right.
We know what's probably going to happen, but him and dad saying that still works, but we don't need that weird shot of him just like looking at his dad like, oh my God. Like it's a weird reaction.
Yeah.
Because if he's feeling this way already, then why even board the flight?
I guess they thought it added to the eeriness. To me, it didn't. Like the all the different how the flights are going through, whether they're canceled or being boarding.
I just
delayed.
thought that was random and it didn't mean anything to me as a viewer.
Right.
I was like.
And the way they're having the background, the score to the movie, and the way they're having his face just going dead to him, again, they're making it seem like he's like, more serious than what it is.
He's like overly perceptive.
Right.
He's going through the scenes and he's looking for like every clue possible. The movie, in fact, actually overdoes clues at this point. Like when the flight attendant, when she gives him back the passport, it says on the passport, your final destination. It says it on the passport, your final destination. And we're just like, oh, wow, but it's too many clues. And then also there's John Denver. Oh my God. They're going to really overuse this whole John Denver thing in this movie. But there's John Denver music playing in the airport. They don't really do a good job of actually like really establishing that he is scared of flights though. Like, does he even mention that though?
He doesn't mention it, but you kind of see
it, but
posture.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
because
to me, this is probably, if you look at it as him just being afraid of these flights or maybe heights in general, it kind of, his posture, if you take a lot of the stuff that happens at the beginning out, his posture gives you the clue that he does not like flights, he does not like heights. It may be heights, it may just be, he probably one of those people that believes your feet should stay firmly on the ground.
I get it, but you could have easily slipped in one line to his dad, or his dad could have slipped in a line about, you've always been afraid of flights, but, tomorrow's different.
You know what makes a good movie? Show, don't tell.
No, but in this case you need both, because I don't know if he's scared of flights or if he's been like just having a dread about, because that look he gives in the room, it was like, well, he's like been feeling weird about this for a while, because he gave a look of like he's already sensing death is upon him basically. So I'm just saying you have to separate like his nerves of flying versus is he already having like premonitions and stuff. That's all I'm saying. They could have done a better job of just separating, okay, common flight nerves or like why is he so damn suspect.
So another thing I will mention, for anyone who's an Ollie Larder fan, if you haven't recognized her yet, she's always in the background just reading a book.
She's a bookworm.
Yeah. I mean, she just like almost every other movie she's in, she's a beautiful woman.
She's not going to stay on this flight, but if she did, she would probably have read every Harry Potter book. on this damn flight.
Possibly. She was already almost done with the book she was reading.
Oh, it was Harry Potter. No, it wasn't. They couldn't get the rights. No, I'm just playing.
Probably not.
But she was going to read the whole damn series.
Oh, yeah.
Flight. So she's definitely a bookworm. So we have Alex and we have his best friend.
Todd.
And then you're right, Todd's brother.
I never caught his name.
Yeah, they don't say his name.
He does kind of have a somewhat funny line when they get on. They see the baby crying. It's like, see, you have to be a real fucked up guy to throw down this plane. Then you see the mentally ill kid. It's like,
I didn't think the movie.
Real fucked up God.
Yeah, I didn't think the movie needed that. Though. It was just weird.
It didn't, but it still got a chuckle out of me when he kind of whispered under his breath, real fucked up God.
Here's what gave me a chuckle. Before they board the flight, Todd suggests, hey man, let's go take a shit.
Oh.
You know, have you ever asked a friend to go take a shit with you?
No. The closest I've ever gotten was...
This is going to be a funny story.
Not really. It's kind of a meh. But the closest I've ever gotten, me and my dad and a friend of mine went to the beach, and it just so happened there was like these wanted posters of a serial killer at this beach. So I needed to use the bathroom. I just looked at my buddy. He's like, hey, stand in front of the door. He goes, why? I went, because if a serial killer comes after us, I'd rather a 2-on-1 over 1-on-1 because I don't know what this guy looks like.
Okay, that's different. That makes sense. That's for safety purposes.
But I still didn't ask him, hey, let's go take a shit. I just said, stand in front of the door and let me know if I need to come out of there and beat the shit out of somebody.
My mind is blown because I'm like, well, Todd, if you feel that way, why don't you yourself go take a shit? That would be the normal thing to do. But he asked...
Well, remember exactly how he worded it, too. It's like, what if you needed to use the bathroom? You blow up that bathroom, that stench stays in there for a while, and then the girl you like comes in after you.
Okay, so why not take care of this at home before coming to the airport? But I thought that was comical because I've never heard or seen of that proposition of... Anyways, but them sitting on the toilets, that's when we get actually... Them on the toilets when we get the reveal of John Denver music playing. Now, for those that don't know, John Denver was a singer who died in an airplane crash.
Yep.
So there's the irony here of his music playing, even though they're going to do this through the entire movie. They're going to keep going this well of playing the John Denver music.
And even Devin Sawa says John Denver died plane crash.
He's putting together so many damn clues.
That, to me, doesn't
It's a little bit too much.
To me, we don't even need all these clues being put together.
Well, because he's going to have a damn premonition.
Yeah, but he doesn't even know he's going to have a damn premonition. That premonition is going to tell him everything he knows already.
Well, there's enough clues to where he probably would be justified in just not getting on the flight.
Right.
But hold on, that's a very, by the way, that is a very irresponsible airport to be playing John Denver music. Like, are they trying to be cheeky? What is that? Like, everybody's in the airport should be picking up on that and be like, hey, wait a minute.
Right.
Why you play that song?
Or is it possible that it just comes to him because it's part of the premonition? It just comes to his mind because he's psychic abilities and blah.
No, I don't think so. I think they're playing some damn John Denver music. So basically, and he's as they're boarding the flight also, he's looking at the wing of the plane. He's looking at a little cart driving beneath. He's like being overly perceptive basically about everything. Everything's heightened right now. Sits down. Now here's the problem I got. When he sits on the plane, the two girls basically, they come to him to change. Well, first, before they come to him, they ask Todd, will you change seats with him? Now, listen, I don't need extreme logic here. But Todd, the scene before, was telling Alex, hey, let's take a shit so that if we blow up the bathroom, we don't want those two girls coming in and smelling and associating us with that. He tells the two girls that he has a urinary infection.
Right.
What the hell? How do you, like, that's strong, bad logic there with the writing.
And also, I don't know about you, but every plane I've been on, the bathroom is usually in both the back and the front.
Yeah.
With Todd, he was dead center, so no matter which way he went, it was the same direction. Had he switched with the girl, then technically, if I was the girl, I'd be like, well, there's a bathroom in the back, so that would actually be a better spot for you still.
He literally just went to use the bathroom to avoid this embarrassment, and then tells them he has a urinary infection, and they actually cringe and walk away.
Well, yeah,
what the hell are you doing, Todd? What is
believe it or
that?
not, urinary infections are still mainly associated for just females, even though males can get it too, but it's mostly a female thing.
You know, not to say he's going to have any opportunities with them, but if he did, those are all blown now.
It's over. It probably
the dream's
wasn't
over,
really
Todd.
Him for one of the girls. I think it was him to try and get Alex to be with the girl he likes.
No, I don't think so.
No, they don't think so?
Because they asked Alex, like, can we change these with you? And they cut to Todd, and he's giving, like, if you make this switch, I'm going to kill you. By the way, you know what he's doing? He was showing, he was pantomiming hanging him. This movie's all about foreshadowing like crazy. So Todd showing that. So Todd was definitely looking out for, himself with the girls, but the urinary infection, that's just bad writing. He just established that, he was conscious of that kind of thing. Anyways, the premonition.
So actually, before we get to the premonition, I just want to mention one other thing that Todd could have done that, for some reason, a lot of guys don't think is a good idea. He should have just been honest with those girls. Should have just been like, see, I would, but I actually want to sit with you so I can talk to you and get to know you better.
Ooh, these are two best friends on a 7-hour flight. They don't want to sit next to him for 7 hours. Once they sit down, you don't know if they can then switch seats after 20 minutes if it's awkward. That's the bad. Okay, if it was a 30-minute bus ride, yes, do that. A 7-hour flight?
Well, then another thing he could have done is, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll switch with your friend.
That's a damn lie. once the board's in flight, who knows if you can switch? Once the flight's in motion, who knows if you can?
You're not allowed to switch at all on flights.
He was going for the juggler, but it didn't work out because, Alex sells him down the river and is like, yeah, I'll switch seats. So the whole thing was for nothing.
But just remember, guys.
So check it out. Now they think he has a urinary infection, and he still didn't get to sit next to him.
Right.
Oh, my God.
So just remember, guys, be truthful with the girl, and you'll work out better for you in the long run.
Well, if you're going to tell a lie, then make up a better lie than a urinary infection.
That too.
That's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Jesus.
That too.
So
anyway, now the premonition.
The premonition.
So technically, the premonition actually starts with the girl is asking him to switch. That's where the premonition legitimately starts because that's where we cut to right afterward. He goes to the seat, tries to get the damn table in front, pops open.
Is it my question is he asleep and dreaming, or is this actually just him awake and daydreaming this?
Probably awake and daydreaming.
Okay. Because afterwards, after the premonition is done, he's going to be like in a cold sweat.
Right.
Like really like he's just been to the ringer.
Yeah, so I think it was still a daydream because why would the girls literally come up and ask him a question without like nudging him awake first? Because when he comes out of his premonition, she goes, hello, what's your answer?
It'd been a while since I'd seen this, and I thought that in my mind, this premonition, this plane crash scene was like a long, drawn-out thing, but it's actually just a 2-minute scene. It's very quick plane crash.
And also, for some reason, I thought it was bloodier than what it actually is.
Yeah, there's not much hair. It's the sequels would go on to like have more elaborate
gore and blood
opening scenes with that. But this is a pretty tame.
The budget probably wasn't big enough to do a lot of gore.
From everything I read, it's like a realistic plane crash. The way it's filmed, it's like plausible it could happen that way. Mm. But there's not much to it. So, yeah, we don't have to spend 18 minutes talking about the plane. It's a 2-minute plane crash. He wakes up in a cold sweat.
And then he freaks out, and him and, 6 other people get off?
Well, okay, so, they obviously... I don't want to nitpick this too much because this has to move the plot along. But he's like, the plane's going to explode. So the other character... Carter, who was on Dawson's Creek. That's how I know him.
I never watched Dawson's Creek.
Well, that was your loss, all right?
No, it ain't.
Oh, yeah, well, in between TV class and drama class, all your TV class and drama classmates, they were watching Dawson's Creek, right? He's crying about the plane exploding, and then Carter, who is our human antagonist for most of the movie.
For some reason, instead of just...
He kind of overreacts.
Yeah, instead of just... I guess it's probably because...
he punches them.
Granted...
he starts a physical fight.
Right, but granted, how would you feel if someone just started freaking out saying plane's going to explode?
Here's how I'd react. Here's how any normal person would react. They would wait for security to come and remove them off the plane. And that's what was going to happen until Carter stuck his big nose situation and then got all these people kicked off the plane.
To be fair...
Because he threw fists. You can't throw fists.
He probably got freaked out, especially with how...
No. He was angry and wanted to beat him up.
No, because... if somebody on my plane started screaming, this plane will explode, I'm getting off that plane.
All right, so everybody involved in the scrap, let's say, is removed from the plane.
Yep,
and then Ollie Larder voluntarily gets off the plane, which we'll find out later why. Poor Stifler from American Pie, Sean William Scott, innocent bystander, somehow gets caught in the scrap and is even complaining.
Well,
hey, I didn't fight anybody.
Yeah, because he was trying to get on the plane because he was actually late to getting on the plane. And then he just, because wrong place, wrong time, ends up getting pushed right off.
I know why he was late, too. He tried to ride his damn bike to the airport because this mofo was riding a bike throughout the whole movie. He should have got a ride.
Well, calling Carter a jackass for always, bullying him.
Yeah, And he could have got a ride and been fine, but he took his bike, and this is where it ended up.
Yeah.
So now here's where I got some problems. So the teacher gets kicked off.
No, she doesn't get kicked off. Her and the other teacher get off because they're students.
Sure.
So then she tells the other teacher, because he knows French, you get on the plane, you know French, I'm not going to be of any help to them, and I'll just get on the next flight.
That's fine, but my problem is with the captain of the plane randomly being like, no, only one of you can get on. It's two teachers. Why wouldn't they both be able to get on? At this point, you're stretching my imagination of like, you're stretching my logic of like, why wouldn't the teachers be allowed back on?
Well, the teachers,
What?
yeah, that makes no sense, but...
How come, okay, if two people got in a fight, why are any of these people being penalized? Just the two people that got in the fight? So the teacher thing was kind of like, okay, the captain basically lost his shit and was like, nobody else gets back on. Only one of you teachers can get back on. That doesn't make any sense. But anyways, as luck would have it, or as bad luck would have it, well, I guess it doesn't matter which one gets on back on the plane or not. It's just...
They probably had a better death than what the other one got.
Oh, God, we'll get to that.
I'm sorry about that, but to be honest with you,
well-
I probably would rather the plane crash
Well, this is interesting.
compared to what some of these characters get.
This is an topic that we actually probably have to wait to get into, though. Is would you rather have been on the plane or one of these remaining survivors?
Like, it depends on what part of the plane. Like, if I'm one of the ones that gets sucked out of the plane and falls to my death, I'd rather probably get whatever death has planned for me. I don't want to just think of my last, like, 5 minutes of life, just me watching the ground come closer and closer and closer. If the plane explodes and I die instantaneously by the fire, fine.
Yeah, but if it happens immediately, instantaneously, like pronounce, if it happens instantaneously, that's the best way to go. I agree. So anyways, they're off. The plane takes off. We got Stifler watching and be like, there they go, and here we are. And Carter, again, tries to beat up Alex at the airport again.
Yeah, but this time Alex actually gets up and is like, this time I'm coming for you.
Alex, he's just something like, he says, I'm going to put you in the hospital or some shit. Like,
and then when they finally break them apart, they're like, I wish you were on the plane. And then plane explodes.
Did the premonition seem like
there's more going on than just an explosion?
The plane explodes really quick, right? It's right taking off and explodes. Right. The premonition seemed like a longer timetable. I don't know.
There was probably things happening up there that, we couldn't see from ground level.
It looked like the plane was at least like wobbling or something,
right?
In the premonition, we just see it going straight and then a straight explosion. Everybody's shocked.
Oh yeah, wouldn't you?
I'd be shocked, but
here's the real question. I don't think the plane exploding would cause such a damn aftershock to explode the glass.
The whole glass exploded.
Yeah, I don't think it would cause that big of a shock. It's not like it's a nuke, because that plane was pretty far from the airport by then.
Well, let's think about the explosion of far away causing that. I mean, I've only seen that in movies. It's always in movies, always a thing in movies. But
I mean, it apparently is dramatic if the glass breaks. So like, no, it would still be dramatic if Stifler would just watch in damn horror as the plane explodes.
It would have been still got the point across, but it exploding did add like something to it though. Just exploding, and then because it exploding wouldn't have got the other characters' attention the same way. Stifler would have been like, "Oh my god!" But the rest of them just were like, "I'm gonna push you in the hospital, Carter." He said something like that. I don't know.
No, he said, "I wish you were on that plane, Carter."
Oh yeah.
So pretty much a death threat because he knew what was going to happen.
And the cops will later use that against him, actually.
Oh, yeah, because now we get the police investigation, making sure it's not foul play that's going on.
Yeah, well, okay, so here's the thing. You have somebody who claimed the plane was going to explode, taken off the plane, and then the plane explodes.
Right.
Obviously, I mean...
Which is why the police are there to investigate.
Yeah, they're there to investigate, and obviously that's very suspicious. But some funny things happen, though. While they're waiting to see the cop, before they're waiting to see the cop, they're sitting there, and I think Miss Luton, the teacher, she asked him, like, she asked Alex, are there any survivors? And he's like,
How should I know?
But what's funny, and again, I don't know if this is bad writing, it's just funny to me when I'm watching it. He's like, I'm not a... Wait, hold on, this is funny, though. I'm not a... And then he holds the thought, right? And Claire, Ali Lauder, her character's name is Claire.
Yeah.
She offers... He's not a witch.
Right. Like,
who did you think was suspecting that he was a witch?
Everyone was probably thinking psychic or freak.
Yeah, it was just...
she should have said freak.
I'm like, Claire, for someone so well-read, that's what you got for us? He's not a witch. Come on. I thought that was just a weird... It was a weird line.
So sadly for Ali Lauder, as we all know, she gets better at acting, but... you can only do so much that the script is giving.
No, I'm not blaming her. I'm talking about the character Claire.
I'm talking about the damn writing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm talking about the writing for the character Claire because she's otherwise a smart person, but he's not a witch. Thank you, Claire. Thank you for your input here. All right.
Right. You did nothing for me.
Why don't you go ahead and finish your book, Claire? All right. Why don't you get back to your book? Yeah. So the cops basically, we get the little 2-minute interrogation scene.
Then we get the whole montage of them at the memorial service.
So,
I guess we should mention the memorial service between Alex and Todd talking. Because it kind of puts into perspective what happens.
Yeah, but I think the point of the scene is basically because when the scene ends pretty much, or during this memorial scene, all the characters interact with Alex in a different way.
Right.
They all have different reactions. I think there's only one normal, correct reaction, and that's Clara coming up to him and saying, "You saved my life, thank you." That seems like normal and realistic.
Mrs. Luton,
everybody else being like treating him like a piece of shit.
Carter was hostile.
Carter's like for some reason defensive and being like, I hope you don't think I owe you something. Like, no, he doesn't think that, but he didn't ask you for anything. Why are you even volunteering that?
Was it?
Miss Luton was like,
get away from me! You scared the hell out of me.
And Stifler.
Yeah, he just comes up and is like, hey man, am I gonna die? It's like.
Well, no, he did his dumb thing where he's like, I was taking my driving test.
All right, just trying to get answers out of him.
Am I going to pass my driver's? Am I going to? No, he did say basically, am I going to die? And the dude's just like, and now it's just like, I don't know, leave me alone.
Right.
So Claire, to me, like, if that happened in real life, I think Claire's reaction was the only actual realistic, like, hey, whatever else, you got me off the plane, thank you. Everybody else's reaction was some movie bullshit.
Pretty much.
Bad writing. There's no reason for Carter to be so. Throughout this whole movie, but especially at this point, why is he still so pissed off the guy that got him off the plane, actually, that would have killed him? But anyways, that was my pet peeve about that scene.
To be honest, Carter is pretty much antagonistic towards...
To a point of not making sense.
Right.
But it gets worse.
Until freaking...
No, well, hold on, it gets worse, though.
Yeah.
This is not even the height of Carter's useless and unrealistic antagonization. It gets worse.
Oh yeah, so let's just go ahead and skip to what everyone wants to see, and that is the death scenes. Because we get our first kill in the movie at this next scene.
My boy Todd.
Yep.
Already suffering from a urinary infection. Now he has to go through this too.
Yeah, his brother died on the plane.
He's got a urinary infection.
His father doesn't want him seeing his best friend anymore.
Those girls died, so
even if you had a chance,
even if you had a chance, that's gone now.
You didn't even have a chance when they were alive.
Nope. And he already shot himself in the foot with that.
And here's another thing. He doesn't have a beard to shave, yet he goes ahead and tries to shave anyway.
Listen, he's planning for the future that he won't actually have. So
can't he at least get a damn beard before he tries to shave? Or at least a stubble?
My question is, we cut between his death scene and Alex getting clues.
Oh, yeah.
And not even clues, but something pretty obvious, like the damn fan blows a piece of paper that says Todd on the piece of paper.
Yep.
Which sends Alex running towards Todd's house in a futile attempt to save him that won't pay off at all. Also,
what is with Todd or at least this movie whenever Todd's on and shitting? Because
I don't know.
That's how it starts, is Todd needing to use the bathroom, sits down to shit, and then all of a sudden the toilet water, the pipe for the toilet water springs a leak, and that's going to be the cause of what happens to him.
Well, this Todd role is a thankless role.
Very.
I'm sure the actor got paid handsomely, but this is not a good role.
Well, especially since, to be honest, this is probably, it's not as gruesome as next death after him, but it's pretty gruesome still having just the damn wire wrapped around him and him unable to unwrap it from himself.
He's suffocating, and he's actually so close to the scissors, but he can't reach it.
And the wire is so thin that it's actually cutting in a little bit.
And there's a damn monkey voodoo doll thing laughing at him.
Right.
Like it's actually smiling at him. So one thing though is we see the black shadow in the background when he's in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's supposed to be our death.
What I mentioned earlier basically was the director initially, the concept of death was for him to be much more obviously killing them versus all the random stuff happening. Mm-hmm. He was going to be more of an actual physical presence himself.
That would actually be a decent slasher movie, a skeletal figure coming at him with a scythe.
But it's cheesy because it's death. Do we need a physical presence? He's gonna make random shit happen and clean up his mess. But I will say that this scene was well done because you kind of see the clues coming together about what's gonna happen to him. But when it finally pays off, it's interesting. And yeah, he suffocates, which there was a lot of foreshadowing about him doing that.
Oh yeah.
But I was more thinking about Alex getting the clues. I'm like, why the hell is Death leaving all these damn breadcrumbs of clues? Where are these clues coming from? It's gonna be something that's gonna haunt me for the rest of the movie as I try to figure out who the hell is giving these clues. Like literally the piece of paper saying title. Like, is that Death or is that an opposing force? It doesn't make sense to me. He's leaving a breadcrumbs of, hey, what if? Because the clue was enough that if he was faster, maybe he could have got to Todd's house and saved him in time.
So
he showed up like a little bit after he died, though. He gets to Todd's house. The cops are there. Ambulance is there. Why the hell is Claire hiding behind a tree? What is she doing there?
she had a feeling.
Yeah, but that's an early sign of like, wait a minute, something going on with her too?
The only thing I can gather from their interaction is apparently whatever Alex feels, she somehow feels.
But she doesn't get the same premonitions, apparently. It's just a feeling she's getting.
Right, and those feelings are apparently somehow still attached to Alex, and that's all we really get an explanation of why.
So he then goes to her house to, I guess confront her, and she gives this like whole speech about the FBI's investigating, and she says, your best friend committing suicide didn't help that. I'm like, it kind of does get him off the hook, doesn't it? I mean, it was a suicide. Well, if you're the FBI, you're like, well, this guy didn't kill his best friend. His best friend committed suicide.
Right.
How are you gonna pin that on Alex? It was a good thing. I think any weirdness about it, I think, was taken away from like, okay, they know he's not the killer, at least.
Yeah. Well, then the next line is literally, "You want to go talk to Todd?"
This was so weird and so quickly rushed and like.
Well, it's like they had Tony Todd for just a day, and they really wanted him in this damn movie.
I had to look it up because Jeepers Creepers was 2001. This is 2000. Something was in the air during this time period where they were writing in these characters, like the Psychic in Jeepers Creepers and Tony Todd Hare, these damn exposition monsters who serve no purpose other than to give background to our mysterious villain. Okay, now I know that you've been waiting patiently for your Tony Todd theories, mainly because, folks, Tony Todd's his favorite actor, so...
That's besides the point. Anyway.
Yeah, so you're trying to make his role in this bigger than it is.
So now that Tony Todd's in this movie, my original theory about this guy was that he was Death, who was getting bored with these simple designs, so was giving people the ability to go up against them so he can have a little bit more fun. That's still, in my opinion, still plausible. However, another thing I just now thought of, what if Tony Todd is actually an angel that is giving the premonitions against Death? Because again, he still knows way too much about how to not really beat Death, but at least keep the cycle going so the characters can live longer.
See, I'm on board with that. I can't get on board with the idea that he's Death himself, but he's clearly a part of whatever opposing force is helping Alex, and he's clearly not the one giving the premonition, but maybe, I don't know, it's weird.
It just, because he's obviously already helpful for Alex. He is the character that just tells him that Death has a design. Y'all broke it, so now Death is going to constantly keep coming back to you until he finishes the design.
I mean, he has the most important 2 minutes of the movie because he breaks down essentially the blueprint for the entire damn series going forward. Can you imagine him getting interviewed for that job? The guy interviewing is like, or the boss is like, well, you have the right qualifications, but the fact that you're Candyman means that I can't hire you. You've killed too many people, can't hire Candyman.
So now let's just make you an angel so you can save people.
I'll take it. Well, that'd been better off with you doing the voice, but...
I'll take it. How much vacation time? What are my benefits?
So, yeah, I mean, who hires Candyman to be like a mortuary person? But
everybody.
But my problem is that he's giving all this wisdom about what they're going through, and after 2 minutes, they're like, okay, we gotta go. No! Stay there and pick his brain the entire night. Find out what he knows, how he knows. He's clearly had some experience here. As important as he is, he's not in the movie enough because based on the situation, they should keep going back to him for more advice. He's never seen again in this movie.
The next scene, he's talking to Claire about what they just learned, and then Carter comes in with probably... for some reason.
Wait. This scene, too, was annoying because he's laying out this whole plan, basically. And she's she's acting like she's believing him. After he lays it all out, she's like, I now know that Todd committed suicide. Like, he said the whole thing just for her to be a non-believer. It was just like he should just like tone some shit down and like explain this to you just for you to completely just not be on my side.
So that way they can sit in a spot long enough for Carter to come and do probably one of the dumbest things in the whole movie.
So before we get to Road Rage Carter, we see that he gets the. Is it a premonition when he sees the bus on the bus thing? I mean, I guess
it's a clue.
It's a clue
that he does not take seriously.
He doesn't think about it, which is stupid. But okay.
Be honest, a lot of these clues he sees, he doesn't think about all that much. He sees them, he reacts to them, but then it's just whatever.
It's like when you get the clue, you have to really in the moment think about it because that might be happening in this very scene. So Road Rage Carter, he's driving. He sees Alex and Claire sitting there having a nice, beautiful lunch. He decides
possibly on a date.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're a cute couple. Carter already has a girlfriend. No reason for him to mess up this romantic intertwinement, but he decides to first make an illegal turn in traffic, almost kill Billy, who's on that damn bike, as he always is.
Right.
And like, there's like almost a 2-car pileup, which is funny because you'd think Carter would be cautious about crashes, but he almost causes a big accident himself.
To get out and attack Alex.
You could say Alex, or you can say Browning, because he always calls him Browning.
Well, yeah, but still, he comes out and for some reason, decides he's going to attack Alex when Terry finally says, "You're stupid. This whole situation is stupid. Let's just move on with our lives."
Wait. I want to first highlight before you. Why is Carter so pissed off at him? It still doesn't make any sense. He comes out and he's like, Carter tells Miss Luton, "Hey, you have to move now because of him. He saved your life, asshole. Why are you still mad?" Okay, anyways.
Yeah, she's able to move because of him.
This scene is the height of what I call the Carter's antagonistic for no reason meter. It's like hitting red now and about to explode. He's so uselessly angry, but I just don't like this character. But anyways, when his girlfriend speaks, is that the first time she spoke the whole movie?
Yeah.
Talk about underdeveloped character.
Yeah, were we supposed to care when she ended up nothing but a red stain on the bus?
I think you're supposed to be like shocked, like, oh my god, she died. But I was like, she had no character. Other than being Carter's girlfriend, I don't know anything about this. I don't know her name was.
Terry.
Her name's Terry, but I only know that because Carter keeps bringing her up in the movie. What do you think about this bus death scene?
Came in fast, like
the shock factor was great.
Are you telling me this bus did not see a random girl like in the middle of the street?
This is one I want to bring up because
maybe the brakes just didn't work.
The bus is coming in so fast, right, that it couldn't have turned onto the road. It had to be coming from a straight line, basically, just with how fast it's coming. She's standing there. She has all the characters in front of her. A solid 4 people.
None of them saw the bus, heard the bus. Alex didn't say, "Hey, get off the road."
Well, Alex apparently has ADD because he ignored his bus premonition from 5 minutes ago. Like, whoever gave the clue was like, "Bro, dude, I gave you the clue 5 minutes ago. You had 5 minutes to sit on it. You could have helped her."
If Tony Todd really is an angel giving him these clues, he's probably like this. "You son of a bitch."
He's like, "I picked the dumbest son of a bitch to give these clues to."
Should have given it to Claire.
I told him about the bus 6 minutes ago.
Should have given it to Claire.
Yeah, okay. And we'll see later in the movie. She actually reacts quick, but okay. Anyways, my thing is like, yeah, I don't know. Nobody sees the bus coming in time just to give her, and she does it, and then could have been easily avoided. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But the shock factor is amazing.
Yep, so let's go ahead and, I guess, go ahead and talk about this next revelation that Alex actually puts together himself. I'm so proud. Our little boy's growing up.
This dude apparently has a future like in engineering or something because he does a brilliant-ass thing here, basically, where he figures out the pathway of the explosion and then lines that up with his own sort of graph he's made to figure out that the path of the explosion went through all the characters who got off the plane. This is a bit much for me. Well, it's a little bit much.
Yeah, so he pretty much figures out that the order they would have died in the plane crash is the order they're dying now, which...
I mean, that makes sense.
It does, but...
It doesn't have to be the pathway of the explosion, though. That's a little bit convenient, but weird, but okay.
And the premonition, so from the graph, it looks like the explosion happened from the side going side to side, but the premonition showed the fire coming from front to back. Because technically, wouldn't that mean Alex and... Because where they were seated, technically, Alex and Todd were in the same row of seats. So wouldn't they have died at the exact same time?
Probably.
So how come Alex is not the immediate first one after Todd?
I don't know. I think that
because the damn explosion came to his face.
Yeah, but the fact is, like, whatever Candyman told them, they took as, like, valid, and that's the thing. Now he's figured out something. That's a thing. It's like, luckily for him, he's like, none of this stuff is wrong. This is all like actual design. I don't know about him actually figuring all this out. This is all like pretty convenient, like him putting on his engineering hat as a high school senior who was in French class, but
Right.
He figures out a lot. He figures out a lot here, and the audience, we have no choice but to just be on board with them and say, okay, well, that's it. They've done this. They're clearly giving us the plot and Death's design and how it works, and okay, I'll buy it. Cool.
Well, how about we just talk about this third death? Because I think it's probably one of the more gruesome and gory deaths.
Miss Luton.
Yep. Death had fun with this one.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Death took his time with this one.
Well, I guess we're supposed to first mention that she calls the cops on Alex for being a stupid kid and thinking, I'm going to go to this person's house who hates me at night. Nothing's going to happen, right?
And that guy catches him investigating her tires. Like, really?
I'm just making sure they're safe. He goes, get in the car. It's like, and he just willingly gets in the car. I'm like, most protagonists try to, kind of fight against this. Not enough to, obviously make them look bad, but enough to explain what exactly they're doing instead of, because he knows something's about to happen, so he wants to stay there to make sure he can try and prevent it. But yeah, he just jumps in the car with him.
I'm telling you, this is the worst person to give this. The worst person to give this power to was Alex because, okay, I'm convinced he could have prevented Terry's death, and he also could have prevented Miss Luton's death. He knows enough now to stop this from happening because this idiot investigating tires and stuff gets caught and gets taken away. So this means that he's always late showing up to the scene, basically. So now poor Miss Luton has this elaborate, crazy death,
right,
where everything that could go wrong does go wrong.
So her damn now one thing I'm just wondering, just pure, it doesn't really make much sense anyway. So in the scene, because the mug is still kind of important for this scene, but she gets so scared of this mug, she throws her tea out of it. It's like, if you're so scared of this mug, I would have thrown the mug.
Yeah.
But instead she just throws the tea out of it, puts it down, says it's just a mug, puts vodka in it, and starts drinking the vodka out of it. So does it not matter that it's the same mug you just got scared from?
Alcoholics gonna do what they do.
Apparently. It's either that or she was afraid of the tea.
I'm surprised she didn't make a gin and toxic. Yeah.
That she probably would have had a better non-painful death.
A sin and tonic.
Oh my gosh, because it's death somehow made the mug crack. So it's just dripping. She drips on her damn computer and the computer explodes. Shard going into her neck where she is slowly bleeding out because stupid her decided not to leave it in. She rips it right out.
She makes a calculated risk by trying to grab the towel off the knife rack
so she can cover the wound, but
and the calculation was idiot.
Yeah. Well,
the calculator came back stupid.
Yeah. The thing is when something is embedded in you like that, you don't want to take it out because you're going to bleed more.
Yep.
That thing is now you're still going to bleed, but that thing is keeping your blood from pouring out.
Yep.
But instead, she just takes it over her neck, and now she.
I mean, she taught French, not anything that would give her the knowledge to do that.
Did she even teach French? She didn't even know it. That's why she sent the other teacher on the plane.
Well, she was on the payroll for something. I don't know. She taught cooking or something. I don't know.
Either way, so then she tries to pull the rag, and the rag was on top of a knife block where the chef knife falls right into her chest. Doesn't kill her right away.
Now. Hold on. By the way,
this was pretty bad.
Okay, the height of the knife rack, right? The knife dropped like a damn quick missile, like stabbing her. What if it had the velocity from that height to like stab her in the way that it did?
It depends on how sharp the knife is.
It came down like deep into her. I think it bounces off her stomach, personally. I think at most it nips her a little bit, but it came down as if like somebody from like 50 feet up had like thrown it with all their might.
I mean, again, depending on how sharp it is, it could have just slid in like butter.
It's a kitchen knife. I get it, but...
And most likely because it was only falling and didn't have much force, it stopped at the bone, which is why she didn't die immediately.
It had to go through a shirt also. I have to see how many layers of clothes she was wearing. I think she was wearing like 2 shirts. It had to stab through the 2 shirts, and then it looked like it went like deep into her damn bones.
It went deep enough so that way the knife just sat there. And then an explosion happens, and the chair just falls right on and kills her the rest of the way.
What about Alex, as always, showing up way too late and putting his fingerprints over the murder weapon
Yeah, so,
as he grabs a knife?
how many people do you think if I was in a horror movie and I know I didn't kill somebody, last thing I'm going to do is touch the knife that just killed somebody?
He's showing up at every single murder scene, but he's showing up too late. He's not helpful. Billy's riding by on his bike. Stifler's
Sees
riding
him
by his
running
bike.
out.
Sees him running out of a burning house that explodes.
Oh,
If I'm Stifler, I'm like, he's the killer.
So Alex runs because now, obviously the FBI is looking for him because now his damn footprints are in the blood. His handprints are on the knife. So now we just get a whole, 5 minutes of these characters now looking for Alex?
There's a weird thing where Claire, he's mad at Claire for not believing in him. But then also Claire knows where he's at and has clearly been in contact with him. Because she puts together the group to, we have to go talk to Alex.
Yep.
So there's a weird moment where...
area.
Yeah, so she's able to find him, and so it seems like they've been in contact.
She says fuck death because she doesn't like the design that happened to her family. And that's probably the worst part of her acting, in my opinion, was that scene.
Her character goes through some changes, too. She's very quiet at the beginning and very to herself, and now she's, take charge and, putting together group meetings. And...
Well, hell, soon she becomes almost like an action hero at the end.
Oh, yeah, she does. Let's get to this train moment, because this is probably, when I first saw it and what I heard in high school, at least, this is a lot of people's favorite moment, was this train moment.
Well,
but I got some issues with it.
So do I. So first you get Carter losing his damn mind because he found out he's next on Death's design, so he pretty much
I control my life.
Yep,
I'm never going to die.
Starts almost killing him, but because... if he gets into an accident, it kills the others, Death is able to pretty much stop it.
Which easily could have happened.
Exactly. So
he's running every red light possible.
So you would think Death would just be like, okay, I can kill all four of them right fucking now.
Yep.
But instead, Death's like, no, I need to kill him first because I got a design going.
You see what happens when they're driving, though, right? Alex gets another premonition of the train.
Oh, yeah. The train, the ripped up seatbelt.
Listen, we can't trust enough. My takeaway from this movie is that anybody intelligent, given every single death, he's given a premonition at least 5 minutes before it happens.
Right.
He messed up with the bus, and now, again, the train, he doesn't mention it.
So instead,
and they come on a train tracks.
Yep, and Carter stops the car. So, and then, I don't know about you, but I'll just be like, hey, Carter, you might want to get out. No. Okay, have a good death. I'll just walk away at this point.
I would say, hey, we tried. If you want to be suicidal, do your own thing.
But to be honest with you, this scene actually kind of annoys me because I feel like both Carter and Alex should have died in this scene.
Why? This is why I wanted to bring it up. Okay, I love the director, right? This was not filmed correctly because he films in a way where they both should be dead.
Right.
They actually show the train coming at the car to hit it, and they show them still. So there's two things going on. He's locking the seatbelt, but he's also in the car. So he's trying to get him out the car. The train's right there. Now we're to believe that the seatbelt breaks. It's still not enough time for him to get him out the car. And then out of the car, they still have to dive off the track.
Right, because
none of that makes sense.
The way the director went is the minute they got out of the car, and the next thing we know, the train just dive bombs into the car. It's like, well, movie's over.
It wasn't put together right because logistically, there's too much having happened for him to get out the car, and they show the train way too close.
Right.
They should have had the train a little bit further in the distance if you're gonna sell it that he got him out the car and then off the train track. Mm-hmm. And you have to believe that for this to work, you have to believe that Alex has superhuman strength.
Apparently.
Because he lifts his entire body out of the car and then also jumps with him halfway. But if you I freeze framed it. The last second freeze frame is the train right there in front of them, and Carter's still halfway in the car. It just was filmed like they died.
Yeah, they should have. So
and also, I'm not sure if I buy Alex in that moment basically dying because he pretty much was like, it's me and Carter or nothing.
Right.
The dude's been an asshole the entire movie. You're not doing him any favors by both of you dying. Just means that you just skipped to Claire and Billy then. So
exactly. Well, technically, because Carter saved, Billy goes on this tirade. It's like, You're next, Carter. You stay away from me. And the train's still running over the damn car pieces, and one of those car pieces flies out and cuts Sean William Scott's head off.
Yeah, again,
Billy has a very thankless role.
Well, this tirade he does is kind of out of nowhere. He just gets up, he's like, you're next, and I'm not going with you. It's kind of like nothing in the movie. I guess it's supposed to be like his finally standing up to Carter, but Carter's like, leave me alone, Billy, I don't need this. And he's like, I don't ever need it. So his moment of standing up to the bully results in
death.
His head getting chopped off.
Yeah.
Cool scene, though.
Could have been better.
The thing about the deaths in the movie is like the deaths are they're so quick and out of nowhere.
But here's the thing about it. That's the only death that damn Alex did not get a premonition for. Granted, I know it was almost instantaneous after saving Carter's life. So Billy's death was probably just like
it was. So the explanation is that so he intervened and saves Carter. So now the death has to improvise very quickly to get Billy.
Right, because it skips. For some reason, when somebody who is meant to die is saved, or it skips him and goes to the next person in line, which is Billy. Which of course,
I'm getting confused as we talk about it because it's
something that just comes out of nowhere. Yeah. And Alex just says, because I intervened and saved you, it went after Billy. It's like,
so Alex can't seem to. He gets premonitions 5 minutes before the deaths. Can't do anything with that. But he's coming up with all these Einstein theories that all prove to be correct.
Now here's a question: Say Alex didn't help Carter and Carter was able to get out himself. Would death still have skipped him after hitting the car and went straight for Billy again?
I don't know.
So does it? Because that's one question I got. Does it have to be an intervening, or can the person pretty much save themselves and it gets skipped?
I have no idea.
See, then
there's a lot of questions. I mean, it's opening up Pandora's box with this movie because there's so many questions that don't have answers. You can theorize like crazy. I mean, who knows? But what I do know is that now we're heading towards the end of the movie.
Right, finally.
And this is where I feel like the movie... I've been super engaged so far, and the movie starts to lose me a little bit towards the end.
So I really hate this next scene of him death-proofing this cabin. I'm
First of all,
death-proof.
Wait a minute. Did they explain where this cabin came from? This was like
yes, Claire said it was her dad's old hunting cabin.
Okay.
Which, to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure her family would not have this cabin no more. I'm pretty sure the mom would have sold this cabin by now to get rid of any mention of her having a first husband, because the way she described her mom in the previous scene, her mom did not want anything to do with her daughter or her dead husband.
Right.
So I would think they would have sold this cabin by now. But apparently not.
So my question is, what's the plan, Alex? What's the long-term plan here?
So the long-term plan apparently is death-proof the house, and Alex just then
sits around
eating
applesauce.
Yeah, and then almost gets killed. Where he goes, I didn't think of that. You're clever, but I'll be smarter.
Yeah, I think death can probably outlast you in this cabin.
And I bet death was probably just like, really, dude?
It's like, yeah, let's see how you feel, dude, in about 6 days. Let's see how you feel when your applesauce runs out and you have to go to the market to get some food.
Right. Well, first, that's when he finally looks back at his graph and goes, wait, if I never switched places with Becky, I would have been here, and that means Claire would have been next. I'm like, but the design was still for you to switch, which means you should still be next, technically. You should have been after Todd.
These revelations, man, I don't know. It's kind of
actually, because of where he would have sat, he should have been before Todd, because he sat right next to him by the same damn part of the plane that would have started the explosion.
Yeah, but then if we have to sit through Todd being the main character, I can't watch this movie, man.
Too much shitting.
If he's the main character trying to solve all this, I'm not.
He'd be on the toilet the entire time, it's like, oh, that's how.
And
then a damn gremlin just shoves a spike up his ass while he's shitting.
You want to have you want to give Carter premonitions or Stifler? I'm cool, man, but it can't be Todd, man. I'm out.
But anyway, so I do got a question. So now that Claire is pretty much our target, she gave up where Alex is to the FBI in a part of maybe they can protect him. But the real question I got during the climax, the electrocution scene, the thing breaks and starts hitting the ground. Where the fuck did this dog come from?
There's a dog there?
Yes.
Whose dog is that?
I have no idea. She looks out her window, sees the electrical cord just bouncing on the ground next to a dog. She goes, Bruce! And I'm like, never in this whole movie have we ever seen the dog.
Well, you would have known because at some point you would have said, Doggo!
And also, we've been at this house 2 or 3 times already. How have we never seen this dog before?
The dog is Death. He's there to spy on the situation, and as a dog, he's able to.
And I
see
guess
what's
she
going
just
on.
decided to name it Bruce.
Yeah.
And it's chained up.
Yeah. I don't know. Listen.
I mean, I guess it's. Yeah, I guarantee you, somebody watching this will go, "Well, they needed to get her out of the house somehow." It's like Death doesn't need her to get out of shit. Death could have just dropped that damn house on her like the Wicked Witch of the East.
So, of course, Alex comes and now decides he's gonna have to sacrifice himself to save poor Claire.
Yep. So he does something that, you know, potentially, I don't know if he thought of this, but he did something that could have killed him long enough to where when he gets brought back, he would not suffer any kind of brain damage. Believe it or not, you can be resuscitated back from being electrocuted if you don't have too many volts going through your body.
But that's what happens to him, right? So
Exactly. So he touches the cord that's bouncing on the car. The car's like, it's not the gasoline that's pouring out. Was it carrot?
I don't know.
Something's
It doesn't
pouring
matter.
under the car. There's fire under the car. So he goes, okay, I'm going to grab this. You start running. So he does it. He gets thrown. By the way, I have an issue with this. So when you get electrocuted, when you grab a hold of something, I don't know if you know this, but when you grab a hold of something that's electrocuting, you don't get thrown. You literally clench tight and hold on to that object for a long period of time until you're pretty much fried. I watched a video of a guy committing suicide by touching a damn, I don't even know what those things are called, and this is the same thing I'm talking about.
power poles?
Yes, one of the power lines.
Power lines.
Guy gets on top of a train, grabs a power line, and he doesn't let go immediately because his whole body clenches from the electrocution and the shocks going through his body. That he gets 3 different shocks going through him, and he is fried like a damn barbecue turkey. So how does this not happen to frickin' Alex?
Because it makes for a more fun visual to see him get thrown 75 feet. I don't know. Listen, let's just.
I have an issue with the entire climax of this movie.
Well, this climax is silly. I do like when they get to Paris. Of course, now the one big gap here, which
6 months later.
which again I think both of us have issues with. Would they have really got on a plane 6 months later to Paris? Especially with how consistently paranoid Alex is about this.
So here's the real question.
Maybe Carter goes, but I don't know about Alex getting on the
Did
plane.
they actually get on a plane? They could have just taken a ferry.
No, they showed them getting off the plane.
Oh, never mind.
So they cut from the electrocution thing to on the plane Carter talking to Claire. And then
And then Alex shows up.
the Alex showing up is the thing of like, oh, well, is he dead? Is he dead? Oh, there he is. It's Alex. Now they're in Paris. They took a plane.
Right. So this is also where we get our revelation that just because you intervene and death skips you, it does not mean death does not come back for you. So the reason it's a 6 month period, in my opinion, is because obviously death has to go after more people. We can't just stick with just these 3 characters. So 6 months later, he's back. He's finished the loop. Now he's back to these main characters.
He doesn't forget about you. He puts your name on a list and then
Exactly. And he just eventually comes back to you. In this case, it took him 6 months.
So to support the idea that Alex wouldn't get on the plane is that he still has a little piece of paper he pulls out where he's still doing his calculations, figuring out if this happened, but I didn't actually die. So he's still paranoid. So why would if he feels that way, why would he get on a damn plane?
Right. So now Alex pretty much realizes that death is never going to stop on us. All we can do is try to continue surviving, so that way we keep getting more time added to our lives.
But what I want to point out about the scene is that Claire gets a premonition. She sees a bus. Why I point this out is because somebody who's actually intelligent gets a premonition and immediately says, Alex! That's how you warn somebody immediately when you get the premonition. When Alex saw the damn bus, he was like, "Meh, bus."
Right.
Bus. He's all train. Meh, train. Claire sees it and immediately quickly responds, "Alex!" Saves him from getting hit by a bus.
Well, technically, Carter he jumps out of the way, and then Carter saves him from the sign. So now it gets to skip Alex and comes back for Carter.
Which is a perfect way to end the movie because, Carter just had that coming. I think I've read the director actually, they had a different ending, and it was something where they felt like Carter needed some comeuppance, basically.
So they pretty much make it where death now just comes back for them after at long while of going after others.
Yeah, the climax of the electrocution I found to be weak, but I love this scene in Paris. Because to me, it's like, you're just left with like, holy shit. And it's perfect.
But the reason I believe death then skipped him instead of coming back for him, because technically, yes, he didn't die. But it's probably because he did die for a time. So it skipped Claire and then went on to the next person on his list, leaving Claire and Carter for next. And then when it comes back to them, he realizes that Alex is still there. It's like, motherfucker, you should be dead.
I think the whole thing was so confusing that even Death was like confused and literally was like, I'll figure this out later. And then he sat down, was looking at his books. He was like doing an audit of his thing. He's like, hold up, I thought he was dead.
Right.
And then he looked up. He was like, oh, they going to Paris? All right. I think Death was confused for 6 months. It was like, didn't know what was going on. Death's in there with like wait a minute, he skipped this person, and then he intervened, and then she did this, he did that. Even Death was like, I don't know who to kill.
Right.
He went and killed.
So anyway, that's the movie.
I got a couple quick hitters, though. When they go to see Tony Todd, they make a big deal about there's marks on his neck from him grabbing the rope.
Right.
And they're like, well, he didn't kill himself then because he was grabbing the thing. But actually, even people kill themselves in that situation, their natural survival instinct still kicks in, and they try to, a lot of times, stop it from happening, basically. So they made a big deal about that, but that's not logically how suicides work. This movie was released in 2000. If it had been released a year later after 9/11, I don't know if it even comes out.
Probably not.
Because first of all, you could not, after 9/11, especially immediately after 9/11, show a plane crash like that. Mm-mm. So I think they would have had to either redo the whole beginning, or it would have been on the shelf for a couple years. But it got very lucky in the timing of it coming out. I know who's really responsible for the plane crash. Mr. Glass from Unbreakable. Think about that for a second. He's going around causing all these disasters at the end of Unbreakable.
Yeah, because Unbreakable came in the same year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think who really messed up Death's plan was Mr. Glass.
Damn it, Samuel L. Jackson.
Another one blamed on Samuel L. Jackson. All right, now we get to our overall thoughts.
Well, you go ahead first. Again, your movie.
All right, well, this movie is hard to judge because...
Oh, I'm judging it.
It's hard to judge only because there's a lot of good and there's some bad for sure. So it's certainly not a perfect movie, certainly not without flaws. What I like about it, even though whoever created the story was definitely high as a kite, it's still, probably the concept of death being the killer, you get points for originality. That's an interesting premise. The execution, pretty good. It has a good director. The death scenes are mostly well done. There's little minor things that could have been improved, but outside of being nitpicky about the deaths are all pretty creative. They're better death scenes than most slasher films because it's not just like some unoriginal do with a knife or do with an axe. It's like they're pretty creative, well drawn out death scenes. I do like Devon Sawa. I do like Ali Larter. They're likable main characters. I hate Carter, but maybe that works because I hate Carter so much that ending is so satisfying to me because he gets his comeuppance. He's been an asshole the entire movie, and then finally gets his just due at the end. So maybe him being an asshole works in the movie's favor because the audience is super happy about the ending, I'm guessing. Miss Luna, underdeveloped. Carter's girlfriend, I don't think she said more than 2 words in the whole movie.
She said, fuck you.
You can all just drop dead. Hit by a bus. Love Tony Todd, but his 2-minute scene to give the entire exposition and then never appearing again in that movie is just, it's egregious. Movie's very entertaining. Loses me a little bit towards the end. The climax, the last 15, 20 minutes, especially the electrocution thing, loses me a little bit. I want to go 2.5 stars. Borderline 3, but I'm thinking 2.5. I'm going to go with 2.5 with the idea of like some little few tweaks would get to 3 stars. There's like a 3-star movie in this, but I actually think some of the sequels are better. So I'm going to go with 2.5 stars. I think at least one of the sequels in my mind will end up getting 3 stars, but I'm going to give this 2.5 because it is the OG. It's the original of the series. It's a new concept, so it's hard to pull off. They improved upon that with some sequels, but I'm going to go with 2.5.
I like the premise. I like the setup. I like some of the characters. I guess I can agree with you. I don't like Carter. Terry.
Nobody likes Carter.
The only reason I know Terry's name is probably because I looked it up on IMDb.
Carter mentions her like 5 times in the movie. That's the only reason I know her.
I like the death scenes. However, the acting could have been better, but what would you expect from a 2000 movie?
How dare you? Devin Saw was a thespian of the highest degree, to the highest degree. Right?
So at the end of this, and then the climax of this movie was just, it was entertaining, but at the same time, it was just annoying because a lot of things was just put there just for plot placement, and we were never given certain things that probably should have been there just to make it seem more believable. So I'm going to give this movie a 2 out of 5.
Oh no!
Or out of 4.
How dare you besmirch the name of the good Final Destination? I was this. I can respect that. I think it's a very watchable movie, but I do think they improve upon the concept with the sequels. Except for part 4. This is certainly not this is, to me, it's not the best of the series, but it's not the worst of the series. Until next time, stay away from your Final Destination.